Well, that didn't take us long to get this out of there. Every bolt just undone. You know the crazy thing is? These shocks still work. That's crazy. Shocks these days that I buy off Amazon only last like 6 months. These things are probably 50 years old and they still work. It shows you how good things used to be. Every bolt came out. The only ones I didn't try was the ones on the U-joints, and I broke one suspension bolt. But as you can see, where it broke is where the grease comes out, because all these bolts have built-in grease nipples. That is the way that bolts used to be made, and they used to be made great. Every single bolt came out, guys. I can't believe how nice this just came apart. So we have the napco axle out. We got it on the ground. No, we got my YouTube channel up here. We are editing, well, not editing. We're just getting all the videos off of my memory card onto the computer. Does that say about 19 hours? That's crazy. But saying that, we got this axle out. Now what I'd really like to do is get this axle outside, even though I've just shut all the doors and everything, and get the Dana 44 in here. Sorry, corporate 10 bolt or whatever the axle is. To be honest, the axles are probably going to change over the next year or so. What I'm mostly after is getting the springs in. So we're going to have to probably cut these ones off the chassis. They are welded. And then go from there. I'm thinking about maybe taking the front end off the truck as of right now. I'm not 100% sure. I might do it. I'm not sure. I know I'm all over the place, but I think that's just me, guys. You'll get used to it the more and more you watch this channel. We're going to get this axle outside, the new one in. We got a fire going, so it's getting nice and warm in here, so don't want the door open for a long time. So let's get this going. And just like that, we have the factory napco axle out, and we have the square body axle in here. So we're going to just grind off these factory rivets for the leaf springs. And then my plan is just to put a bolt into this and see whereabouts these things line up. And see what we can do. If I get rid of the body mount, we get rid of the body mount. If I keep the body mount, we keep the body mount. But honestly, we might be able to actually keep the body mount and maybe even utilize it for the front end of this thing. But it does look like all this has to be pulled out. And yeah, I don't know. Look at all the dirt in this thing. Fresh right from northern Alberta and mouse poo. So let's get the grinder and the torches out. We're going to take off these rivets. We're going to pound out this leaf spring bracket. And see what we're left with right here. Boom. So we've been working at this here for a bit. We got the new corporate put into the front here. I know it needs new axle bushings in the back. Don't have to remind me. But let's just turn the light that way. We pretty much got the rear of the leaf springs right where the original rear shackle mount was, but we did push the front ones forward almost about 2 inches. Now I just have these little tabs on here. These here are just 3/8 bolts through the holes in the shackles onto there just to basically hold it. I have nothing welded. I have nothing bolted or riveted or anything like that. And we're just going to see how well this mounts up. So, saying that, we have this here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go get some tires, and I'm going to bolt some tires onto this. Where it sits is about a little bit higher than where I want it to be. We do have to cut those off the back, and then figure out what we're going to be doing for rear shackle mounts, but as it sits right now, I'm going to put a tire on and see how we clear the fender wells, and go from there. Oh. So these tires right here are a 265, 75? 265, 75, 16. I believe that makes it work out to be about a 31. And, let's get this thing back a bit. These tires here are 265, 75, 16. It's a little heavy, I think. We gotta pull this off the center cap. Try it again. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna tighten up this. I think we're right at the tipping point on this hoist. Maybe I should put one of the rear tires back on. But these are basically like 32-inch tall tires. And what I'd eventually like to do is run 35s on a negative 44 offset, is what I'd really like to do. So if I set these up and then leave a lot of space, I can eventually switch it to 35s on negative 44 in the future. A lot of you guys are going to say, oh, negative 44, are you guys kidding me? So as that sits right there, I'm nowhere near hitting anything. What am I hitting over there? Oh, I'm hitting the hook that's holding the axle up. Yeah, I think that this is half decent, to be honest, guys. It is a little pushed forward. Let me come down and take a look at that. So the tire is a little pushed forward, but I really do like the look of that, and I don't want to ever trim this. So I find a lot of these trucks, like square body trucks and all this other stuff, when you're lifting it, if you don't push the axle ahead, I find you got to cut out so much of this. I'd rather cut the front than the back. And honestly, guys, I'm actually really liking this. I'm like really liking this. What we're going to do, we're going to put a tack weld on the front, make sure that we're square, remeasure, and go from there. Let me get some measurements here. So our original measurements to the center of the axle was 28 inches, which was the factory measurements on this 57. And that's 28 inches to center of axle. And right now, I'm going to say we're like 26 and a half, which means we've moved the mounting surface ahead just that little bit. I think that's going to work. So here's what I want to do. I want to take the front bumper off of this truck. I'm probably just going to use the torch. So then I can get my measurements to make sure everything is solid. I'm just going to give a small tack weld, and then I'm going to build brackets that actually catch all the existing holes, because I want to make this as sturdy as possible. And I think this bumper's got to come off anyway, because it's severely mangled. So, saying that, let's get the bumper off and then get some measurements. But honestly, guys, like, this is looking pretty damn good. Like, it's not looking extremely bad. It's really not. Let's get the torch out. So we got our 33s on here. We got it pretty much sitting where I want it to be. I got the front end, like a 1-inch weld that's easy cuttable. I got the front bumper off so we can get in there. Honestly, guys, this is looking pretty good. I can turn it without it binding. It doesn't come anywhere close, even if I run I got I'm gonna say 3.5 inches there. So if I run, these are 33s or 32s. If I step up to a 35 with negative 44, it's still gonna miss this. It's gonna miss the front. I think we have a winning combination there. I really do. So, saying that, we got to get these brackets off the chassis back here. There's a lot of rivets on those. I don't really want to cut those apart, but I might have to cut them apart to get them off. If I turn hard, it kind of wants to pull it off the hoist. So what we're going to do is we're going to start popping out the rivets to these rear leaf spring mounts, and then we're going to go from there. Now, the factory GM ones, I don't think are going to work because this goes right into a cross member, and that ain't going to do us very good. We'll have to go from there and see what we can do. But honestly, I think we can reuse these factory shock mounts if we move them back. Take this side, put on the driver's side, put the driver's side on this side. I like to try to use as many factory parts as I can, even if it's not factory to this truck. Try to use them off a different truck. I know the ones off of the square body would not work because the frame is actually bent. It's just a little tab that comes off. I knew they would not work for this. But that might work if I drill them out, move them, and then re-drill holes back here and do that. So like this, I really like reusing factory parts. I don't do it all the time, but I do like doing that. Yeah, we're just trying to get everything on the front of this before we rip off all the body metal, because then we kind of have an idea of how it's going to look. It's a little easier to get in there with the body metal off. But I like being able to look at it and then visualize it. Yeah, let's get back to work. No more talking. Ugh. So we've done a lot of work to this. I cut all the factory brackets off the chassis. How they're designed, I wanted to save them to try to resell them, but didn't happen like that. The rivets would not let go. They were already welded to the chassis, so the fact of me trying to sell them would probably be very slim. And even if the fact if they weren't welded, it'd be very slim. This is not a swap that people make their trucks four-wheel drive very much. Excuse me. But now that we have all the weight on the tires and the leaf springs are sitting right on the bottom of the frame, I don't like it. I want to cut those welds in the front, and I want to push this ahead another 1.5 inches, because as it set down, it actually came to the same spot, let me get out of the way, that it did factory. And I think, personally, how this sits, I think it sits too far back, and I don't like how close it is to this. I would like it closer to the front. And I have 2 inches that I can go up at the front. Oh, look at you. You getting up? Oh, she's been sleeping all day. She's ready for dinner is why she's getting up. But I would like to move this axle ahead another 1.5 inches, 2 inches, which is actually probably going to work out a little bit better for me. So what I'm planning on doing is cutting those brackets off tomorrow, moving this axle ahead, and then I'm going to be calling a place called TMR, which is out of Newmarket, Ontario. They're really good in the four-wheel drive stuff, and I'm going to be getting some leaf spring bushings and then a mount that can weld to the bottom of the frame so that I can just weld the rear bushing to the frame. Now, the Chevy ones actually went inside the frame, but I don't think I really need that here. Yeah, so I think that's where we're going to end this today. I think tomorrow we're going to make some phone calls and try to order some leaf spring bushings, see if we can get them delivered. Newmarket's not far from my house, but it's just an inconvenience in 45 minutes to drive to Newmarket. The price of gas these days here in Ontario, it's like $1.63 a liter for gas. And the 45 minutes, it's just cheaper to get them shipped. And they'll be here in 2 or 3 days. So my end goal, I think, is to run -44, 20-inch rims and 35s. But I got a really good deal on these tires, which was basically a guy paid me to take these tires. So I want to use these tires until they're garbage, and then I'll probably take the tires off my Dodge and put them on this, and then I'll get new tires for my Dodge. But I do want to take this ahead. So I think tomorrow we're going to come out here with the mini grinder. We're just going to cut the tack welds. It's like a 1-inch weld that I did. I put them in an easy to cut area. And we're going to take the hammer and move the axle ahead until I get to a position that I actually really like. And if I actually go farther ahead, it's going to be better for the steering box. I think they look better farther ahead. I think this looks too far back. But that's just my opinion. Everybody wants to build their own stuff differently, but I think that's what's going to be. I think it's going to go ahead just a bit, And then once I put the leaf spring hangers in, it's actually going to get a little bit taller as well. So, what do you guys think of this thing? Today's been a pretty amazing day today. We actually got this thing home today. We dragged it in the shop with the little 4BT airport tug. And then we got the factory axle out. We got the corporate axle in there. And it's actually been a very productive, very, very productive day. And I'm very happy with how well it's gone. But I'm not rushing this project. I'm just going to take my time and enjoy it. I got most of the winter to work on it, so I think it's going to be pretty good. So thanks for watching, guys. Do you like the build? Do you like 57 Chevys? I know this is a GMC. I'm sick and tired of the comments saying it's a GMC. As far as I'm concerned, Chevy and GMC are the same company. There's differences, I get it. They're the same company. There ain't no difference between a Silverado and a Sierra that is outstanding. There's no difference between a Sonoma and an S10. There's no difference between a Jimmy or a Blazer. They're all the same vehicles in my eyes. That's the same reason why I call Grand Marquis and Crown Vics the same car. They're the same chassis, same body panels. They got different headlights. Sunfires and Cavaliers, same car. Different headlights, different taillights. They're the same car. But that's just me going on a rant. I think we have made out pretty good on this project. I think that everything is going very well so far. And this is not going to be a SEMA truck. This is going to be something that I don't mind throwing 500-600 pounds of dirt in the back, driving around, driving it to town, to Home Depot, throwing 4x8 sheets of plywood in the back of it, bringing it home. This is something that is going to work with me, for me. I don't need it to be pretty. I don't need to sit there on the weekends and polish the tires. I love the 75 years of history that have been built into this truck. 75? No. 65 years of history? It's 57. I like the history that's built into it. I think that gives it character. I think that if you make something look as good as it came out of the showroom, yes, it's going to look nice, but it has absolutely no character. It is just a soulless creature at that time. Every dent, ding, scratch puts soul and character into these. All these grind marks and dents, I have no idea what they're from, but they have a story to them. And it's this truck's story. Same reason that I'm making it newer axles, because I want to continue writing the story for this truck. And I'm happy that you guys are here writing it with me. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment down below if you like it, if you want to see anything, if you think the axle has to go ahead or come back, or if you like it right where it is. I just think it looks a little better farther ahead. Oh, she wants dinner. She wants to go inside. You want dinner? Are you hungry? Yeah, you're hungry. Oh. "14-year-old puppy is what you are." But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you back here later on Zach's Workshop.